So on this video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to make a block using watercolour paper. Actually, you can use new watercolour paper, or I'm using old watercolour paper with old paintings on there that I don't want anymore. So I've just cut the paper down to, that's 8 inches by 6 inches. Also cut a piece of wood the same size. You could use cardboard, I suppose, just to give it a bit of stiffness there. So the idea is that I can take this out on location and do some little sketches or something, and you know, it's just scrap paper. And what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of masking tape to get them all lined up. That's the important thing. Just tape that around there. Fold that back on itself, make it easier to get it off in a moment. So that's going to serve two purposes. One, to hold it all together, and when I glue it, I'm only going to glue there and there because I need somewhere that I can get the palette knife in afterwards to cut the glue to take the sheet off. So I'm going to glue all the way around there, and I can go around all of the sides there. So I'll take that off once it's been glued on there. So into the very messy workshop, I've got this piece of plyboard that I picked up from our local DIY store, and it was in a bin of lots of other bits of scrap wood that you could buy for €10. So I often buy those for these useful little projects. This is 70 centimetres by about just over 11 centimetres that wide. So I'm going to cut it in half. So I've measured 35 centimetres. Now what I need to do is to drill 4 holes. So this is going to be the clamp to clamp the paper together. So I'll just use this washer, just place it on the corner so they're in the right sort of area. To be fair, it doesn't really matter if they're not all the same, but try and do a good job. Take these two pieces together, and this plyboard is 15mm thick. There, on a flat surface, it's not too bad. Get them lined up, something like that. Hold those two together. So let's drill some holes. If you haven't got a drill stand, don't worry, you could just use an ordinary drill. It'll do the same job. Just try and get it straight as you can. And these are 10mm bolts that I've got, which do slide through there nicely. Let's just check the ones I did on the stand. Let's just run through them again. So you can just put in larger bolts if you need to, but that does fit in there okay. Wing nuts would be good. I haven't got any that size, 10mm, so I'll just use bolts. So let's take that up to the studio and glue it together. So we take our clamp and put the watercolour paper with the board on through there, and doesn't need to come through very far because we want to clamp that end nicely, so that's probably enough. And so you really don't need a lot of pressure. It's just to hold those together. And so if you're into flower pressing, you might actually have one of these already to do the job. So just a little bit of pressure. So they're all together. So I take my glue gun that's nice and hot, and squeeze the glue. I think I'll go halfway, and then I'll use the palette knife just to smooth it off. I've put a black glue stick in because I thought that might actually be easier for you to see what's going on. So it's not going to be as tidy and neat as the ones you buy from Dale Rowley, obviously, but you know, I think it's a good way to reuse old watercolour paper. So just smooth it off. Loosen it all off again. Probably make your holes a little bit bigger, make it easier for yourself. So now the side. There's always a Mark 1, Mark 2 and often Mark 3 and 4 when I make things. So again, glue that there up to the masking tape. Make sure it attaches to the piece of wood. And same that side. More glue. They don't last long, these sticks, do they? But they weren't expensive. I think I paid a euro. I think they were in their de-stockage section. That's that. Good, always put cloth down. And this side here as well. I could probably actually glue over and have an opening on both sides. That wouldn't hurt, I don't think. Let's just move the clamp over. Plug that. Made a mess of my table, but I think it'll clean off okay. Good job I didn't do it on the kitchen table. Be in trouble. The bolts don't need to be, the holes don't need to be such a tight fit. So, modification for that. Let's take the tape off of that. Obviously the first bit of paper's got a little bit dusty and so on, so I'll sacrifice that first bit of paper. I suppose what I could have done is just put a piece of just plain paper on there or something just to save that. So we'll do a watercolour on it and see if it works. Give it a go. So this is just a bit of fun, just to try out this setup. But this is actually a little ease, or what do you call it really, a pochade box for oil painting. But maybe I need to make one for watercolour. It's quite nice to be able to just hold it in your hand, you know, let's have it in a little bag or something that you can just set up and do a painting. A few loose tiles there, and so you could make these whatever size you want. These pieces of paper, you could go really small with them if you wanted to. Good exercise to have a go at painting from life occasionally. The roses are finishing now, one or two still about. Now what has a handle and a big spout like that. Got to be a watering can. I rendered these walls a couple of years ago. Pretty much done most of the rendering now on the house. It was a case of deciding how many stones to leave visible. And obviously that structure to the right of me is the catio. So this is a bit dried up, this paint, but it is good quality paint, so it's not wetting up too bad. I do prefer fresh paint straight from the tube. Nice blue sky. And a suggestion of this rose. So this is just a little sketch just to try out this block that we just made, and how easy does it come off, and so on. Oh, we've got a visitor. Hello, Rusty. And what have we got to use for the rose? There's a bit of dried up magenta there. We'll just have to change them to red roses, I think. We'll have more. Maybe suggest, can we suggest that step, do we think? Not to get carried away, it's just a little sketch. Oh, that'll do for a little test. So I'll let that dry off. So let's go and take this back into the studio and see if we can take the paper off, and it'll be ready for the next painting. So the cats are in the catio there because it's there's a lot of hunting around in this part of rural France here, so they're safer in there, and also they've got the full run of the barn as well, and several other places as well in the house, so they don't do too bad. So back in the studio, also you could do this out in the field if you were going to do another painting, but also you just need a credit card or something, or a palette knife works quite well. So you just need to find the next piece of paper, slot that in there, and then just carefully, so I can see, run that through there. I wouldn't use a sharp knife because you'll rip the paper, so a blunt knife or something, or say palette knife is probably the best, and obviously make sure you cut away from yourself so you don't injure yourself, all the way around. And there we go, ready for the next painting. So that worked okay. So I think definitely you probably get away with just doing top and bottom. I'll do another video with the other pads I've made where I've glued all the way around and see how I get on with that. So there we go, that's how to make a watercolour block with your scrap bits of paper. So you can make it with new bits of paper as well if you wanted to, but quite easy, you don't need a lot of equipment, and it was good fun. See you on the next video.